Hello. I would like to talk about addiction. So, addiction is a term most of us are familiar with, and depending on the context in which I'm referring to it, in whether it has to do with substances, drugs, food, sex, pain, pleasure, whatever we're addicted to, addiction has a hold on us. Addiction is a fixation that we create in order to distract ourselves from a longing within ourselves, which is essentially the source of all addiction, is a place inside that's like a gaping hole. And that place can never be filled. And that place is like the womb of creation within us. It's where everything that we are comes from. It stems out of that. And to try to plug that up is actually to plug up our own source and to plug up our own ability to channel what we are freely. Interestingly enough, I've observed just through experience with myself and experience with other people, that to consume anything physical that is an addiction is to literally suppress our purpose. It's literally to suppress our soul's desires and the unique divinity and spark of life that we are. Because when we are consuming and we are forcing things down our mouths into our bodies, whether it's liquid, it's alcohol, it's marijuana, it's tobacco, it's heroin, it's sex, it's chocolate, it's crap food, whatever the specific thing is that a person has addiction to, it's not bad. It's only taking the being out of balance. And in order to be what we are, we have to make that a priority. Essentially, to express the thing that we are first, and everything else, all the other pleasure, all the other activities that we engage in come after that. They have their place, and essentially I would even say that no substance use is wrong. But this is something that I see everywhere. If it's not physical substances that go into our bodies, it's television. A person sits there and consumes, and they stuff information into themselves. They stuff information into themselves in order to keep what they feel from coming out. If we stop putting things into our mind, into our body, guess what happens? A bunch of things inside of us come out. Our beauty comes out, our words come out, our love comes out. Everything that is us begins to come out. And out of a fear based on a trauma that all of us have experienced from the time that we were adolescents, of expressing ourselves freely and either feeling rejected or feeling fear of being rejected, gradually and gradually, slowly and slowly, as we get older and older, we try to suppress what we are. But we ought not suppress what we are. Addiction runs much deeper than a psychological level. It runs much deeper than a problem to do with a substance. It has very little to do with the substance itself. It only has to do with rejecting one's own nature. And our own nature is to be expressed. That is the most important thing to identify in the confines, in the behavior, in the different facets to addiction, is that one cannot be expressive at the same time that one is consuming and is consumptive. I would like to use the opposite word and call depression the opposite of expression, is that when we block off what is unique inside of us, which wants to come out, which leaves us vulnerable, which urges for connection and genuine expression, that when that is blocked off, a person becomes depressed. They are no longer expanding, and they might not even be contracting, but they grow stale and stagnant, because what a human being is a river. What a human being is a river. A river continuously pours and pours and pours. I was also making a video earlier today. If you look on my channel, it's called Surrender. Something about surrender and purpose. Okay. Anyways, I was talking about a river. What we are is constantly flowing. We're meant to flow. And I was thinking to myself that a perfect synonym, which has been lost in translation and is heavily connotated, is the Holy Spirit. That there is a source within us that when we tap into it, it just pours and it pours and it pours, and the cup runneth over, and you never run out. The more that it comes out, the more that you have. And this is the place inside of myself. This is the place that I talk from, where I could talk from for the rest of my entire life, because it is my destiny. It's my path. It is uniquely what I have found wants to come out of me, a unique creature here on this earth, when I don't try to suppress it. When I don't try to control myself, when I don't try to censor myself, when I don't try to limit myself, and I just speak freely and I speak what I feel, and I want to share what I am with anything around me to make the world a better place, to make the world a more beautiful place, to spread positivity, to make others happy because I can feel their happiness, to ease suffering, to ease pain. This is what comes out of me. I could say that I'm full of the Holy Spirit. That's just one way of referring to that place inside of ourselves. Holy Spirit, a river, the source of expression of divine will. Why is addiction so prevalent, and how really can addiction be defined? Is it only narrow to the scope of hard drugs, or could we say at a certain level that to be impulsive with anything materially is, in a sense, addiction? If you cannot sit and hold your dinner in front of you for a minute, for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, if you can't control your urge, whether you're hungry or you're already satiated and you're ready to just eat more, if you cannot control that, could we call that addiction? I think that we could call it addiction. Because many people, they don't practice essentially withholding their impulses. Not that that's also a good thing, but much of the time we are impulsive when it would make more sense to wait, and we wait when it would make more sense to jump on an opportunity, to seize the moment. So oftentimes you see a beautiful person, you run up to a lovely lady and you don't know her and you want to tell her she's beautiful. Her smile made your day. She has a beautiful smile. You want to compliment her hat. You say she has a cute dog. Okay, so that's a time when many people, they hold back, they wait. Many people, they get their ice cream at the vending guy on the corner of the sidewalk, and immediately they just start eating it. They don't take a second to look at the colors. They don't wait and take a deep breath. They don't feel the breeze that's blowing while they're standing there talking to the nice guy. They are impulsive when they could wait to take in more. And people are hesitant when they could act on something that would give them a new level of vulnerability, that would open their heart like that of a child and help them to feel the innocence and the pure connection that it is to feel alive. What do we do about this? If I'm saying essentially that a person is not in control of their impulses, and that's addiction, I would say basically the entire world is addicted. That we feel that we have to try to plug a place which is constantly empty and which is constantly aching. It's the source of the greatest joy, but it's like an open heart will always be hurting. Otherwise, how else could anybody else feel compassion and feel a great sense of love and appreciation and connection? That they coincide with each other because we are naturally empty. And the sooner that we recognize that our nature is emptiness, whether it's in the soul, if we refer to something called the soul, whatever that means to you, and we say like the actual being, the essence of what we are is empty, or we say even just the heart. that the heart is naturally empty, and that it's just empty space. Things can come into it, they can occupy that space, they can always leave, but the heart itself is just empty space, like the mind. You hear many Buddhists or different traditions refer to the mind as like a sky that is actually empty. The sky is empty and the clouds pass through it, and the thoughts are like that. But the sky itself is just empty. It's empty space. When we're talking about our mind, it's actually empty. That is what we are. And there's no way to fill that emptiness. We are empty space. But we can feel full at the same time if we do not run from our feelings, if we do not hold back our words, if we do not have fear of the consequences of expressing ourselves genuinely. The only consequence of expressing yourself genuinely is allowing people that don't appreciate you for who you are to fade out of your life, and to bring beautiful people that accept you how you are, embrace you, that are encouraged and opened by your presence, and that you are enabled by and opened by their presence. That's the only consequence of speaking your piece, speaking your truth, speaking your heart. The only consequence is sorting your fucking life out. All the people that are holding you back from your greatest potential, let them fucking go. All the people that really want to be something, they want to achieve something, they have a similar vision as you, they have a similar dream, bring those people in and let's make something together. But let's not waste our time. You see, the truth of the matter is, so much of the time I'm connecting addiction to expression. This is my main point, I think, in this video, is that addiction and consumption and trying to stuff an empty place has to do with the fear of what comes out of that emptiness, and letting that emptiness be, because it's very powerful and very strong. If we just express ourselves, we will find that all the people that we have the fear of losing either will change or they will fade away. And it's most likely the second one, because we don't need to count on anybody else changing because we express ourselves. People change when they want to change, and the greatest change is to express oneself. So maybe if we express ourselves, others will express themselves. That's the only change we're going to get if they feel inspired to do so. But the only people I want around me are those that express themselves, that embrace my expressing myself, that embrace me embracing them expressing themselves. You cannot fool me. You can't fool yourself. You can't fool other people. When you're trying to fill a hole inside of you, you're running from something. You're running from what you feel. That's not real. Addiction is symptomatic of a spiritual dilemma. It has to do only with blocking off the greatest potential of expression of our being. Many people, they smoke and they call it spiritual. It's not spiritual. You can use anything as a way, as a doorway to God. You can use walking and contemplating it and being mindful and so attentive to the process of your walking that it becomes a gateway directly to the source of your being, to that which is experiencing all of this beauty. We can utilize a narrative with another person, a dialogue. We could utilize a conversation. We could utilize something as simple as making a video, as playing a song, to give ourselves absolutely to that moment, to smoke a cigarette. If you can pump a load of heroin into your arm and you can think of God the whole time, I've never done heroin. I highly recommend nobody does it, from what I've heard from all the good people that I know that have done it. But hey, if you can screw in a light bulb and be so attentive that you use that as an entheogen, like a person can smoke a cigarette or smoke a spliff or smoke out of a chillum or drink a beer or drink a bottle of wine with such celebration and such love, that's awesome. But for the most part, most people cannot do that. They lose themselves. You cannot smoke one cigarette. You can't do it. And if you can do it, you're probably a person I've never met and I probably won't ever meet. Most people do not have the strength. They don't have the strength to do that, and they deceive themselves. If you're spiritual, you have to look at your own nature. If you call yourself spiritual, or you believe that you're strong-willed in your mind, you have to be so honest with yourself. If you are in any essence considered to be a spiritual person, you have to be longing for freedom, for release, for liberation. That is the heart of all spirituality. All spirituality leads to liberation. It leads to union, it leads to growth. And there's many byproducts and symptoms of spiritual practice, but it's not just being happy, because we all have good days and we all have bad days. Spirituality is about liberation. Liberation. Liberation means you are in absolute, intentional, conscious manipulation, control, action of your being. It means everything that you do is a choice to do or to refrain. If you want to smoke, you can smoke. If you choose not to smoke, you choose not to smoke. You can do, you can wait. That is liberation. Liberation is the ability to say no. Liberation is deciding to be so clean in your being, to be so clean in your thinking, to be so clean and direct and pure in your feeling that you don't need anything from the outside. That is the only time that a person could smoke a cigarette or drink a beer or enjoy a bottle of wine for a huge celebration. But for the most part, nobody I have met ever is strong enough to handle that in moderation. It always becomes a crutch, and it always becomes something to lean on for dependency. There are many things that we are addicted to, that we grow dependent upon, that are not harmful psychologically, physiologically, physically, or emotionally. I draw. Check this out. Okay, that says fuck society, because that's how I feel inside. Fuck society. That feels good emotionally. It's a good release. It doesn't harm my body. If I don't draw, I won't have withdrawals and start puking. But it is actually a possibility if I feel that overwhelmed emotionally that I could start puking. This is something else. This is something I'm addicted to. I do this because it gives me clarity. It's like sitting down and closing my eyes and doing a strict meditational practice. There are practices to do which purify our body, our mind, our emotional complex, and our spirit. It's all one thing. To contaminate the body is to contaminate the soul. It's to contaminate the emotional body. It's to contaminate the energetic body. Period. To contaminate your body with anything you are addicted to, it will alter all aspects of your being, because they are one thing. If I massage one part of my body, I will remember certain memories from my childhood. If I massage this part, I'll remember this. If I massage my hands, I'll remember guitar playing. If I massage this part, I will feel love. I'll feel the anxiety from my past relationships. I'll feel the heartbreak. If I massage this part of my body, it will stimulate certain thoughts, certain emotions. If I push into a certain part of my body, it will open up the deepest essence of myself. My spirit will shine through. It will open up the direct energetic essence of what I am. It is all one thing. Addiction is not to do with physicality. Addiction has to do with the suppression of our expression. You want to express your spirit into this world. You want to give it animation. You want to give it form. Give it form however you want. If it's in words, if it's in movement, if it's in a smile, if it's in laughter. But be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Where are you harming yourself? This is the question I encourage any person to ask. If they're a seeker, if they're spiritual, if they're not spiritual and they just want to battle addiction. But even if you are an atheist and you're not religious or you're not spiritual, if you are battling addiction, it ultimately has to do with an existential problem. The existential problem is everybody is trying to cope. Cope with life in a way that is clean for your body. Everything clean. Think clean. 2 words. Clean, cleanliness, purity. Think clean thoughts, clean body, clean heart, clean emotions, clean spirit, pure, purify. Pure means concentrated. Pure is not the stigma that's attached to purity, like a child is pure, or it has to do with wearing a white gown. Purity just means there's no contaminants. Literally no contaminants. It's pure gold. Means there's no other metals mixed in with it. Purity. I am Alexander Ariel. I'm pure Alexander Ariel. I don't have any of these contaminants from the media over here, or these negative people, or these people that are spreading this bullshit, or anything that I'm using to put into my body that makes it impure. We want to keep this circulating well. Keep this circulating well. Whatever happens in here, it needs to come out. Whatever's moving around in this body goes through the organs, goes through my toes, goes into my eyeballs, feeds my brain. Keep it moving. Don't put things that are going to stop the circulation and create stagnation. Any substance that you put into your body is going to make it very difficult for your body to function. Your body is an independent entity. It is its own being. You can have a conversation with your body. If you put physical substances into your body, you're going to fuck it up. Your body is going to ask for help, and if you are addicted to something, you're going to ignore the messages that the body is saying. The body is always communicating with us. We need to listen to our bodies. Our bodies are talking to us. Talk to your body. Tell your body that you love your body. Tell your body that you're on your body's side. I say the body because the body houses our spiritual or energetic essence, our life energy force, our emotional body, our emotional heart, our psychology and our mind, our psyche, our mental sense of self, conception. The body is all that. It's one thing. So I'm talking about that. If you have thoughts about addiction, if you have questions, if you disagree with me and you want to fucking tell me, if you agree with me, you want to be like, yo man, Alexander, thank you very much. Tell me, subscribe. I feel cool because I've never done this before. Alright, subscribe. I love you. Peace.